Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everybody tuning in. I appreciate the support. Marcus here. And I wanted to talk about why your Facebook ad is not working today. So I had an interesting conversation with somebody this morning, a friend of mine, somebody I know, and they were having a problem with their Facebook ad. And they're like, why am I getting this error? Why am I getting this? And I'm looking at the ad. I'm like, you're like advertising like 30 miles outside. He's involved in a brewery. So I'm not going to mention any names in this, but this is a learning experience, major learning experience for him, and learning experience for anybody watching this who places Facebook ads. Okay, if you want to learn how to brush up your ads, stay tuned on this video. Watch this video through me. If you're placing ads on Facebook, I'm going to drop some important information about this whole ad mystery thing on Facebook because it can get very confusing. All right, so he's a brewery, and he's releasing a new beer, and he has a band, and he's advertising 30 miles away. So I said to him, I said, why are you going so far away with this ad? And he's like, well, that's what I always do. And I'm like, okay, so what's your tagline? He's like, my tagline? I'm like, what is your hook? Why are people coming to you 30 miles away to go to your brewery when they can go to the brewery down the street from them, when they can go to a beer store and buy beer? Why are they coming to you? Like, let's think about, and he tells me his tagline. I'm like, new beer release, I'm not driving 30 miles. Especially if I don't know who you are, I'm really not driving 30 miles. I'm not driving 5 miles if I don't know who you are. So I said, you have to think of something that's really going to catch it. So the first thing of this lesson is, what's in it for the guest? What's in it for them if they drive 5 miles or 30 miles? If they drive, spend 45 minutes in a car to drive to you, what's in it for them? It needs to be more than a new beer. It needs to be more than a band. It needs to be more than something like that. So he started thinking, it's like, okay, I see what you're saying. This is kind of useless to advertise that far out. He goes, how about if I go 10 miles out, 5 miles out? And I go, well, that's better. I said, but imagine if you could advertise to all the people that have engaged in your Facebook posts over the last year. And he goes, yeah, how do I do that? I got very excited. I'm like, see, when you scroll down on your Facebook feed, your fan page, you'll see the posts that you do. A lot of times it'll tell you it reached 500 people, 25 people engaged with it, and 100 people viewed the video or whatever, something like that, okay? So those engagements are people who click and expand the video, maybe share it. Those are people that are engaging in your posts. So those people right there know who you are. And those people are great to advertise to because they actually take an action towards one of your posts. Unlike somebody who's 30 miles away who knows no idea. And I'm not saying don't advertise 30 miles away from you. 30 miles away for a brewery releasing a beer, you probably want to place an awareness ad just to get people to a site. If you're going to try to get people in your brick and mortar location from a 30-mile distance on a Facebook ad, you need to have something really strong and compelling. More than free this, free wings, more than a new beer, more than music. You need to have something really compelling if they don't know who you are. Now, I always talk about 3 types of guests in a restaurant or in any business. This goes for any business source. So the first type of guest is a guest who's on the sidewalk. A guest who's on the sidewalk is somebody who knows nothing about you. They may probably have never even heard of you. And when you're advertising 30 miles from your brick and mortar location, if you're a brewery or a restaurant, and you're doing a general ad to somebody who likes beer, chances are that person out there has never heard of you before. There's a lot of people that have never heard of you before. So they're just going to brush you to the side, right? So there's that person that's never heard of you. Then there's the slow lane. The slow lane is somebody who's heard of you. You're sort of on their mind. They might have visited you a year ago and then forgot about you. They know about you. They're just not taking action. And then there's the fast lane. The third one is the fast lane guest. The fast lane guest is somebody who's a regular, somebody who comes into your business all the time. Now, the ad you would place to a fast lane guest versus a sidewalk guest are 2 totally different messages. These messages, I mean, let's face it. Somebody who knows you, who's been buying from you and has visited you from 30 miles away, they want to know you have a new beer. The person who doesn't know anything about you 30 miles away, or this can even go for 5 miles away, 10 miles away, they don't care about a new beer. They're like, what are you going to wow me with? Like, you got to wow me right now. So not only do I change my pattern of going to the brewery 5 blocks from me, 5 miles from me, you got to change my pattern to actually get me to come into your brewery, your restaurant, 30 miles away, 5 miles away. So we have to think of what's going to break their pattern. And the first thing we have to say is what's in it for them. Now, let's face it, an ad that's 30 miles away from my restaurant or from a brewery, These should be awareness ads. These should be ads just so they can kind of start to get to know who you are. Hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm the chef of XYZ Bistro. I'm the brewmaster at here. And I make these great beers with these ingredients. This is something I'm brewing up right now and this and that. And your goal from that, from a 30-mile draw, 10-mile draw, 15-mile draw from people who don't know you, is just to get them to know you. And maybe get them to your website, to get them to visit your website, and then maybe drop some information, because on your website, you're going to say, hey, next time you're here or your next visit here, we're going to give you 20% off, 25% off, a free dessert, a free appetizer. And that right there, folks, is going to prompt people to then say, okay, I'll drop my email, I'll drop my name, and I'll get an email certificate, which would be great, right? So see, there's a progression of how to move people from the sidewalk into the fast lane. So again, if you just joined us, we're live on Instagram and Facebook, and we are going to be on YouTube as well with the same content. So we're just talking about how Facebook ads can be totally useless to certain people and how Facebook ads can be gold to other people. Okay, so thanks for saying hello there, Food Business Acceleration Hub. Awesome. They're on Instagram. Hello to the people on Facebook as well. If you're watching this live, by the way, drop a comment, #live. If it's on the replay, drop a comment, #replay. If you do Facebook ads for your business, for your fan page, definitely drop a comment. This is definitely a video for you. Just stay tuned, because I'm gonna talk about some really awesome Facebook strategy here, Facebook ad strategy. And the reason why I replay this on my YouTube is so you can go back and watch it, and it's actually there and it's cataloged, and it'll be on my YouTube videos under business tips. And some of my content actually goes into my Restaurant Growth Secrets Academy. So then my members, my clients, can access it anytime they want. And it's all tabulated right there, Facebook ads, this and that. So my content gets spread a lot of different places. So back to this whole thing about Facebook ads and a distance. So I was speaking to this person who was like, okay, yeah, I'm basically wasting my money right now, Marcus. And I'm like, yeah, you basically are wasting your money trying to get people 30-mile distance from you, 10-mile distance from you in for a new beer. I said, here's a strategy you need to employ. First of all, you don't have a website. I've spoke to you several times about having a website. Folks, if you don't have a website, if you do not have a website, having a website is majorly important. Having a website is the key to making Facebook ads work. One of the key components to making Facebook ads work. So I explained to him, I said, okay, so you don't have a website. On your website, there should be a pixel, but if you don't have a website, you can't put your Facebook pixel. Your pixel's that coding that Facebook tracks every single visitor to your website. And then when you go to advertise, imagine if you were to advertise now in a 30-mile distance to anybody who's actually been on his website. All right. So that right there, I'm like, now they know who you are. 30 miles away, they've been to your website. They know who you are. They actually can relate to your message now. And a lot of those people that have been on your website have probably been in your door, in your brick and mortar place. So they probably know exactly who you are. So he's like, oh, wow, how do I do that? I'm like, well, you need a website. You need to place the pixels. And I said, okay, now here's another tip. Those posts you do every couple times a week on Facebook to get that engagement thing there, you can advertise to every single person who's ever engaged in your post in the last 365 days. Now, if you go 30 miles out with somebody who engages in your post, you have a client, a guest, who's either in the fast lane or they're in the slow lane, ready to move into the fast lane. So, folks, you can spend the same amount of money and advertise in the same distance area, but target a totally different group of people. You want to target people that actually know who you are in most cases. You want to do awareness ads. Now, awareness ads are things just to get people to aware of who you are, and that both are totally fine. But don't try to do an event with an awareness audience, because an event with an awareness audience is not going to really work as well as an event. You're advertising an event to a specific audience who knows you, likes you, engaged in you, on your list. Folks, you can take your whole list. This is why again, a web page is so important. A website is so important, because on your website, you're going to have a pop-up box to join your newsletter. And in that newsletter, you're going to give away a free dessert, a free beer, whatever you're going to do. You're going to give something away, which is going to entice people to a reward, to entice people to give their information. Now, through my pop-up box on my website, my AromaTime website, I've landed 3,000 people through that website, through that pop-up box. So I take those 3,000 people and I add them to my 7,000 people that I have from people that came to the restaurant to fill out their comment cards, and I now upload that list to Facebook. Facebook, I can place an ad to my custom audience of everybody who's from that list. So now if I go 30 miles out from that brewery and I place an ad for, here's our new upcoming beer, here's a band this Saturday night, everybody on the list knows who I am. These people are fast lane customers or fast track customers. These people need a much softer message than somebody who's never heard of me. So I hope you understand the difference between the different lanes here, and the different audience through the Facebook options. Folks, Facebook has so many. This is why Zuckerberg is a billionaire, because he's figured out this algorithm that works for businesses. If you know how to do Facebook ads, you will totally succeed and rock. Now, this is totally different than hiring a person to do your Facebook posts and your social media management. This is a totally different thing. An ad agency, a qualified Facebook ad agency, is different than a social media marketing person. Two totally different positions. So now, I had hired somebody last summer, and paid them big bucks to come in and show me stuff for 3 months because I thought I was going to learn stuff from them. And I was teaching them what to do. And it was very frustrating. I'm like, no, you're building me a website. Let's get a pixel in here. Let's do this. Let's do a pop-up. I want to get them to a list. And they weren't following everything, but I said, this is the coding. Here it is. Put it on the website. Do this. They're like, oh, okay. So even when you hire somebody, they still might not know what exactly is going on and what they're doing. So that's why it's important to watch videos like this and follow people and check stuff out like this, because you need to keep these agencies and these people that you're hiring on their toes as well. I just visited a restaurant website, that this restaurant is very successful. Very successful. They franchised it out. They have several locations. I don't know, 10, 15, 20 locations now. They also, as a side business, are an agency for Facebook, for social media, to do for other businesses. And I went to their own restaurant webpage, and their pixel was not on there. That coding that Facebook tracks your visitors was not on there. And I was shocked, but I'm like, sometimes you can hire the most qualified people ever out there, and they're just not coming through because they just don't know. Because again, here's the thing, folks. Anybody can pretend they can be a social media manager. Anybody can pretend they can do all this kind of stuff. But until you actually do it for your own business, and you split test it, and you understand it, and you read up on it, you study, and you hire people to show you, and this and that, like, that's when you get somebody who's super qualified. Like, if somebody hires me to do their Facebook ads, I'm doing my own Facebook ads. I'm doing the same thing for your ads that I do for my ads to get great results. So you want to find somebody who understands and knows the difference and is going to be able to show. But again, if you don't know this stuff, that's why watching a video, if you just watch this whole video, and you go back and use the Facebook pixel, the engagement audience, the awareness ad, to a website page with a pop-up, with these things right there, will make you a lot more money. I promise. Those 4 or 5 things right there are gold. And I can guarantee you that when you hire most agencies, they're not doing all those steps. They don't understand the importance of all those steps, or you're not paying them to do all those steps, or they're just posting on social media for me. Again, there's a totally different reason. There's a totally different mindset from a social media manager to somebody who's specifically an audience Facebook ads expert. If you become a Facebook ads expert, you need to understand what's going on, not just be able to post something. And then you need to understand psychology marketing. What triggers people to buy? When are they going to buy? What questions to pose? What gets engagement? Things like that. So these are all super crucial. So again, don't get frustrated with Facebook ads. Facebook ads totally work. You're just not placing the ad right. You haven't hired the right people to place your ads, and as simple as that. So again, follow those 4 or 5 steps I said, and I guarantee you that your Facebook ads will be much better. You'll be happier, and you're gonna go to your Facebook ads as your first and foremost. Now again, if you're doing these steps, you're hitting such a targeted audience that you don't need to spend quite as much. Or if you're going to spend that 30, 50, 100 bucks, 150 bucks an ad, you're going to reach that much more qualified people when you're doing those posts to actually get people in the door. Okay. Now again, there's an awareness, and I'm all for awareness stuff. You post stuff for awareness so people can warm up to you, know who you are, and understand what you do. You're not selling them something in there. You're just getting in front of them and making them aware that you exist. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all of your support. And again, go crush it with your Facebook ads. Facebook is totally awesome. And if you have any questions, drop a comment. I'd be happy to answer, or shoot me an email at help@50mistakes.com, 50mistakes.com, help@50mistakes.com.